All right, we're gonna try this. So I've been asked to give a little bit of an explanation and an origin about the grit, grace, and gratitude thing that I say at the end of my classes. And so one of our reps at Logan asked me if I could do a short video that would explain, where that came from, where I got it, why I started saying it, and those kinds of things. So at the end of my classes, if you haven't taken one of them, I usually finish by saying, if you attack your days, weeks, months with grit, grace, and gratitude, things will fall into place. The reason I started saying that is, one, I realized that being part of an organization like the Motion Palpation Institute, yes, it's our job to teach and instruct and to deliver great content, which I think we've always been really good at. And I'm biased completely because I've been teaching for the Motion Palpation Institute for 16 years. But I also feel like it's kind of on us to at least a little bit inspire you, at least at the end of the classes, so that it kind of carries you into the next week with a little bit more momentum than just finishing with, the CT junction and doing something cool and being like, all right, I'm going to catch a flight and I'm out of here. So the reason I started doing this is because I felt like, the content carries itself. And so the things we do in our classes carries a lot of weight just in and of itself as far as what we do and, what we teach from a curriculum and a content standpoint, which I think is the most valuable part of the weekend by far. But I wanted to finish it by, adding some of the other things that I think will help you be successful in practice, like the grinding, the embracing the grind part, the compassion part that you deliver to your patients, the communication part that's important in being able to connect with your patients and the other people in your community. And so that's where the grit, grace, and gratitude thing came from, is that I wanted something that would inspire you. I wanted something that was concise, and I wanted something that would stick with you, something that you could kind of remember. And obviously people have kind of grabbed onto it, and we see it in t-shirts, which I've never thought I'd ever be on the back of a t-shirt, or things that I said I'm not on the back of a t-shirt. Thank goodness, that would not be good. But that's where the grit, grace, and gratitude came from, is that I wanted something concise, something that would inspire you, something that you could hang on to, and something that would stick with you and the people that attend our classes. And so that's where the origin of that came from. I don't really know necessarily when I started doing this. I believe it was probably a couple years ago when I started getting into more and more of the personal development and the success literature, I guess, is probably where it started. And then I did some writing, and it just kind of came out. I liked the idea. I stole the 3 G's and the putting the congruence and character and adding the catchiness to it from Brendan Burchard. So all of that credit goes to Brendan Burchard. The 3 grit, grace, and gratitude, that I totally made that up. It was an amalgamation, a conglomeration of different things that I'd read. But the fact that I put the 3 G's together, that's totally a Brendan Burchard thing. So he gets the credit for that. So the reason I picked those 3 things, and I'll just briefly describe what I think about these 3 components of what I say at the end of these classes. I think everybody that's successful has a fair amount of grit in them. And so, yes, that comes from, some of the wrestling things that I do or have done. The embrace the grind thing is totally a Jordan Burroughs thing, who's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. And I do think you have to embrace the grind. I think every successful person has grit, that stick-to-itiveness, that tell me I can't do something and I'll prove you wrong kind of attitude, and the fact that you're okay with doing things that aren't necessarily fun and sexy. And so I do think that every successful person, every successful chiropractor, and every chiropractic student needs to have a little bit of grit. Angelo Duckworth wrote an entire book on grit. which is stick-to-itiveness, which is consistency. And so those are the things that I think everybody that has a successful practice or a successful life or career, I think they all do those things. I think everybody has some grit in them. And it doesn't mean that you have to grind every single day, because that's exhausting. It would burn you out. But it does mean that you have to have some of that enjoy working hard aspect to what you do. And so that's where the grit thing comes from. It comes from being consistent. It comes from failing fast. Winston Churchill said, success is moving from failure to failure with great enthusiasm. And I think that's something that we all should have, is our ability to fail fast and just learn from it and then move on to the next failure, because each time that we do that, we get a little bit better, and that takes grit. And so that's what I think everybody that has done anything, achieved any level, or continues to level up has a fair amount of grit to what they do. The grace part, it's not a religious thing. It's not a graceful, eloquent kind of thing. Grace, literally to me, is just being congruent with who you are. And so when I say the grace part, the grace to me is being congruent. It's being the best of who you are, or at least trying to be the best of who you are every day, and to improving that. To get up every morning and chase a better version of you every day takes grace. And to also realize that grace isn't necessarily something that you can bestow on other people or is bestowed upon you. Grace is something that is a combination of your congruence, of your character, and your humility and your humbleness, and being vulnerable. So to me, that's what grace is. It's being congruent. It's having a high level of character, or chasing a better version of you every day. It is being humble and having a sense of humility, and being okay with being vulnerable. I think it's a combination of those things, and that's where I get the grace thing from, is that it's that dropping the ego portion of you that allows you to get out of your own way, which allows you to succeed and to be able to tell your story to other people, so that they want to kind of follow what you have to say. And then the last part is gratitude. The grit, grace, and third portion is gratitude, part of that. And for gratitude, for me, that's, I believe I stand on the shoulders of giants, and I haven't done, anything that I haven't learned from somebody else, or somebody else hasn't given to me. Whether it's humility, or whether it's mentorship, or whatever it is. I have a lot of gratitude for the people that have come before me and have helped me get to where I'm at. And I also feel like, as a sense of gratitude, it's on me to help take that and continue to level up, or to put my own spin on it, so that maybe it connects with you as a student, or as a doc, or as a person that I'm teaching to. So to me, that's what gratitude is that it's giving gratitude to those who have come before you. It's giving gratitude to the day that you're given. It's giving yourself some credit, and not beating yourself up for things you have or haven't done yet. Allowing yourself to strive satisfied, and to be happy with what you're doing and the journey that you're on, knowing that we're going to have days that we aren't our best, and that's okay. And so it's all right to give yourself a little bit of a break, and to give yourself some credit for what you have accomplished. I think too often that when we get into this grit and this grind attitude, that you just out hustle and you outwork and you outdo everybody, and you don't give yourself credit to enjoy the successes that you've had in the past. And I think you need to give yourself a little bit of gratitude, and to, again, recognize the things that you've done and the struggles that you've made it through, because without that, you don't have that next stepping stone to that next level, to that better version of yourself, whatever that version may be, whether it's a better chiropractor, whether it's a better business person, husband, wife, significant other, dad, mother, whatever it is. So give yourself some credit for the things that you have gone through, and the things that you have achieved. And so with that, that's where the grit, the grace, and the gratitude thing comes from, that I say at the end of my classes. And it's all about just hopefully inspiring you a little bit, and giving you some things to think about, and something that you can consistently fall back on, and to enjoy this life that you're on, because that's what life is about. It's about living. And so It's easy to get all consumed with the things that we do and get into this hustle and grind mode. But those other two things hopefully kind of bring you full circle so that you have some sort of grounding, some sort of pillar or a base or a foundation that gets you through your days, and hopefully makes your days not only enjoyable but successful, and a better version of you exists at the end of the day that maybe wasn't there at the beginning of the day. So with that, thank you. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you asking me to explaining this, because you want to know, and I hope that